The latest episode of Simon and Souness is available from 1 this afternoon on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. That is, if you've nothing else to do. This week, Jose Mourinho was the topic of conversation and where he might end up managing next.
He's not finished with football. I'd have him as England manager. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't care what other people think of him. And there's a crowd of people that constantly deride him and make an observation on the fact that he's negative and divisive. I think he's a perennial winner. And whilst the arguments of Tottenham and Roma may make a different argument, I don't know. I think that
So if you're owner of a top club, you'd consider Jose?
I think it'd be stupid not to have a conversation with him.
It's interesting. You've been drinking before that episode, Simon? Or were you sound of mind?
Why, with Mourinho?
Yeah. England manager.
Yeah, because I think he has I think ultimately when it comes to big games, we've got a manager in there that I worry won't make the big game decisions that make the difference. I think Mourinho is a big game manager more often than not. Hence the reasons why he very, very rarely loses in finals. Yes, you can make a point. He lost in last year's Europa final and had a tantrum and abused the referee and all that sort of stuff. But I would. The FA never will, because the FA don't want any controversy. That's why Brian Clough was never England manager.
Would you have Mourinho as England manager, Graeme?
Yeah, I think he's exceptionally talented, good man manager. I think he's still got that edge to him. You know, people say his ideas are no longer working. That's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. You know, he sees football a certain way, which is not. You know, it can be counter-attacking at times. But I think when you look at Chelsea when first time round, and you had Drogba and Frank Lampard and other people that go and get you goals. They were a good watch. He knows the game. He knows the game. He knows the game, and he's a good man manager.
I hope he does. I mean, he's a manager.
Would you have him as Scotland's manager?
No.
Why not?
So we're fine with what we've got. Stevie Clark is doing us very, very nicely, and we're all looking forward to the Euros. But sure, listen, you guys have Mourinho.
Trip.
Head over to the talkSPORT YouTube channel at 1 o'clock, and you can watch more of that rubbish, Simon and Souness in full, or listen to the show on the
because he's not invited to join us.
He was on there for 2 weeks, wasn't he? And he took the
of
figures
course,
to
you're
zero.
A sub.
Yeah.
What's it like being a sub?
We got negative figures from.
What's it like being a sub, Jim? How's that work then?
Listen, you told me privately that you were more than happy I came off the bench because you were, quotes, sick of the other guy, unquote.
I want a change in the
He wants the running order change. He wants it to be Souness and Simon. What he doesn't want to do is also doesn't want to ask any questions of me. He wants all the questions to be asked of him.
I can imagine.
That's enough about me. Let's talk about me a bit more.
Me some more. Yeah.
So listen, we'll finish off with this, Graeme, because it is quite a week. Arsenal, could be 4 points clear before Manchester City face Brighton on Thursday, because Arsenal go in tomorrow night against Chelsea. I mean, that one's live on talkSPORT, and of course it's vitally important for Arsenal in particular. Arteta says, sure, at a time like this, we know what we've got to do.
I really liked the performance, obviously the result, the clean sheet, but especially the way individually as a team, the team has shown that they still have another step forward to make and show the resilience and the determination that is needed in these moments to step in and say, I'm here, I'm going to make myself count, and I'm going to impact the team.
Resilience, determination. Arsenal going against Chelsea. They might do it, Chelsea, without Cole Palmer, because apparently he has missed the build-up due to illness. Anyway, that being the case, we shall see in the fullness of time. But Graeme, do you identify with what Arteta is saying here? Resilience, all important.
Yeah, it's the acceptance. Again, I seem to be talking about a lot. The acceptance that you're now a big team, and the acceptance that every game you play, it's a cup final for the opposition. And the opposition you're going to play, you have to imagine it's the best version of them you're going to play and deal with that. They didn't do it last year. They've slipped up this year, but they're further down the road this time. Arsenal are a really good team, and they will still believe they can win it. They will still believe City will slip up. Dangerous game for City. Going to Brighton, a team that keeps the ball really well. They could end up smacking them 3 or 4-0. But it's a dangerous game because you play against a team who they're basically playing City at their game, and they do keep the ball really well, Brighton, but they don't have the same firepower as City have.
Well, of course, I mean, if Arsenal beat Chelsea, Simon, and Liverpool beat Everton, all of a sudden it's a 4-point lead. over City? Are City too wily to be bothered about that?
They're not going to worry about stuff like that. They control the controllables, which are their games. I think that Arteta was very honest after the Bayern Munich game, and I think there was some really interesting analysis that he said. I think Arsenal have made progress. They're not there yet.
They get knocked out by Bayern Munich. There's no disgrace in that. They are where they are.
No, absolutely.
They're still, it's not early days, but they're on a journey, and they have to go again next year. They have to improve on.
That's about right.
On next year, but they could still win the league. They will not. They're not. It's not London Colney anymore. Wherever is it, London Colney where they're training grounds? They're not sitting there thinking our season's over. They're still believing City are going to slip up, as they will do at Kirby for Liverpool.
They have to. They should. So they should. It's still there to play for.
And
but
City
I don't think they will.
And City are in that position that you want to be in. We just have to win all our games, chaps. Simple as that.
Do Arsenal and Liverpool go forward, though, more in hope than expectation?
No, you're still believing they're going to slip up.
Does it help Arsenal or hinder them that City got knocked out of the Champions League?
Does it hinder City?
Does it help? No. Does it help Arsenal's plight in trying to overcome City? Does it help or hinder them that they're not pursuing a treble and doubling down in the Premier League?
Then we're going back to the conversation about being tired in too many games, and there's nothing like winning football matches. You know, when you win the game, you want to be playing again and again, and the confidence, you know, and the energy that gives you winning football matches. You want to be winning. You'd rather be winning the games.
I want to finish with something today, Graeme, about this situation with Guardiola and saying, now, I might cut back in my media commitments just as a little protest in that the players are being asked to play too often. Was there ever a time in your career, and you're very honest about it, did it ever enter your head going into a game, I'm knackered here, but I'm going to play anyway? But I'm pretty done. Ever?
I think it's a state of mind a lot of the time. 3 days was enough for me. I could go again. I never felt, I can honestly say I never felt tired. Maybe I just didn't run around so much as the rest of them.
Either mentally or physically? Neither.
No. I think it's a state of mind. I'm blessed with a certain attitude. I bring it on. I just love playing.
Liverpool players around and about you at that time were the same.
But what I like
was Kenny the same?
100%. What I like to think is when I went to Liverpool 23-24, I wasn't the best pro. Learned from the top senior pros who were serial winners, and I like to think after 2 or 3 years, and I became a senior pro. I like to think that people looked at me that were just coming into the club and into the team, and they said, well, that's what we've got to be like. Come back to that senior pros. We started there, can finish there. You must have good senior pros.
Okay. So you're mentally ready for this podcast you're about to do with him?
No. Not that ready. Not that ready.
That's
I'll tolerate it.
I'll tolerate it. Back on.
I'll tolerate it.
I'm going to spend 10 minutes outside talking to Luke so I can dumb myself down enough.
There
to be
you
able
go.
to relate to Graeme.
So you've been exceptionally rude today to some
Producer
people.
Luke has been nothing short of magnificent
and honesty
today.
travel together sometimes.
As he is every day. Graeme Souness, thank you so much.
Jeff. Thanks.
Wonderful.
Today.
Enjoy your podcast with the aforementioned.
That's a stretch.
I'll be in the canteen enjoying a
I don't like the way you eat, Jim. You need to watch your diet.
A pleasant lunch with producer Luke. We're coming up to 1, Andy and Paul on the way.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.